More NASCAR content? For all the latest in NASCAR, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-in shows, and awesome giveaways, tune in to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite hosting site with new shows every Tuesday night. Check out Lap Traffic on the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and follow on Twitter @LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night coverage of the Full Send Racing Series. Tonight, one of the most well-known tracks on that of NASCAR. We're heading to that of Charlotte Motor Speedway, a track also the most well-known in iRacing for the oval side of things. All iRacing members get this track for free. It's one of their first tests of mile-and-a-half racing for your career if you try to start iRacing. Tonight, we're excited though, as it's going to be the Queen City 200 presented by the Lap Traffic Podcast. We can't wait to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Trevor Earhart. Trevor, we just came off an incredible race at Pocono, a finish that will probably say in a lot of people's minds the incredible turn off of turn 3 and the calamity, the chaos that gave Nick Holland the win last week.
That finish is going to be fresh on everybody's minds coming into this week, but what a finish it was, Sam. And like you touched on, the track here at Charlotte that everybody's run a lot of laps around, so field should be really close tonight and should provide for really close racing all night long.
Very close racing we're expecting to have as drivers just getting finished with practice, about to head into qualifying at this current time. We got 22 drivers ready to conquer the course here this evening for 133 laps. It's going to be the fourth time in 4 seasons the drivers get to test out this course. Back in season 1 when they were in the Xfinity car, got to find themselves only running 120 laps back then, which is 5 cautions. Then in season 2 when they were running the trucks, 120 laps again, but only 1 caution. Then last season, season 3, back to the Xfinity cars, 135 laps, had to go into overtime, where the driver that won, Andrew Medlin, only led 1 lap. So really anything could possibly happen, but I think we have to go back to that second season, Trevor, where there was only 1 caution. It was because of the stage break, and it could be a similar thing we see here tonight.
It very well could be easy track here at Charlotte to really race around, plenty of room to give one another, especially in the corner. So very good chance that we see this race go green, and we know how good and clean these guys race here in the Full Send Racing League. So there's a big possibility. We do have that 1 stage break at lap 40 though, so there is at least guaranteed 1 caution for these drivers to kind of catch their breath, learn or figure out what they learned from the stage break and get back out there and go again.
As we're currently seeing drivers tackling that of qualifying. First driver come across the line, going to be the 21 on screen of Ross Tatum. First lap, going to be that of a 31.0. Seeing other drivers trickling in with their numbers, going to be already trying to go with their fastest lap so far. Ross Tatum, as well as Doug Pierce, might be going on the back foot. Go slow in the first lap, maximize the speed on the second, as the 21 comes off of turn number 4 through that of the tri-oval. And to see the 21 cross the line, is it enough for the pole? And it will not be. It's third fastest for the 21 machine. Some other drivers beating them out on their first lap. I mean, Trevor, that's incredible to see here as Jonathan Woods tops the board now.
Yeah, Woods goes quicker on his second lap, but really interesting to see there that for some drivers, the first lap, the quickest lap. The second lap for some, not as quick as they would like to see it be, but could just come down to how aggressive are you willing to be on that first lap. We know that on cold tires, they can be a little bit loose on corner exit, especially at a turn number 4. But for those of like Austin Call, John Dark, drivers who got their fastest lap in on their first lap, a really good job by them in their qualifying run.
Based off of practice, there's a lot of drivers that are surprisingly sneaky quick who have been struggling for most of this season. Excited to see how this is going to be trickling and kind of falling through the wayside for some drivers. Ken Campbell, our winner from last season here at this track, the 15, going to be fourth on the board currently, as here comes one of the fill-in drivers here tonight for the 94 of going to be that of Joshua Altus. It's Aaron Hale could be in the driver's seat for the 94 machine.
Yeah, back in this 94 truck, was in it last week at Pocono and was having a fairly decent run for himself as he's already completed his 2 laps. Going to take a little practice green flag pit entry there for himself just to make sure that he gets his braking points correct. And Zach Hall now in that 32 machine. Finally, Sam got his wheel issues sorted out, so expects to see that 32 machine up front here tonight.
Very excited to see how that Zach Hall is going to run here this evening. I mean, last week he was taking it very gentle at Pocono, was running the last for almost the whole entire race until the last push where he found himself getting an 8th place finish. Here tonight, expecting a very different story from the 32. Be aggressive, because now he doesn't have that worrying thought in the back of his mind of, is my wheel going to disconnect and clobber someone and take them out of this race, as gets ready for the first lap. Is going to be the 32 of Zach Hall, but top of the board, fastest during practice, now fastest for qualifying. It's that of Travis Dart for the 26 on top of the board. I mean, that is a fast lap for the 26 machine, as here comes Zach Hall for his first lap for the 32.
And Travis Dart backing up his practice times. Now the question for Travis, if this lap time sticks and he can beat out the 32 of Zach Hall, who on his first lap goes 12th quickest, so Zach looking to improve by about 2/10 to have a shot at the pole here, but he's going to get loose, Sam, out of turn number 2, and that's going to do it for that 32 machine. He's going to start all the way back in 13th position. But the question is going to be for Travis Dart, now that he's pretty much got that pole secured, can he save the tires on the long run and have something for these guys at the end of the race?
As drivers come to a complete halt for themselves. Last driver come across the line, it's going to be the 3 machine, Ryan Lynch. He was the slowest of the first lap. The second time crossed the line, it will not be good enough to advance in position. 21st for that of the 3 of Ryan Lynch. The only driver not to put in a qualifying time going to be that of Philip Chavez in the 101, as tonight's race, that of the Queen City 200, presented by Lap Traffic Podcast. Qualifying is over, and now it's time to see how these drivers are going to attack for 133 laps. There will be a stage break at that of the end of lap 40. Drivers will have 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. Fuel window looks to be around 50 laps, so the drivers got a lot to worry about. They got a little bit of wiggle room on when to come into pit road and when not. But it is now time to take a look at our qualifying results to see where the drivers will start out here this evening. Taking the pole award, it's the 26 of Travis Dart, as well in second place to his outsider, Daytona winner of Jonathan Woods in the 2. Nick Holland going to be starting in 3rd place with Andrew Medlin in 4th. Excited to see what the 68 is going to bring after his win last week at Pocono. Then going to be in 5th place, Austin Call in the 18. Ken Campbell, winner last time this league was at this track, in 6th place. 7th's going to go to John Dart, with that of Cameron Sarton in 8th. Nick Gould going to be in the top 10 here starting out. Finishing out our top 10, it's going to be the 17 of Chris Stitz.
Last season's champion Ross Tatum in the 21 is going to roll off in 11th with Jonathan Casebeard, his outside in 12th. Aaron Hale will roll off 13th with Zach Hall in 14th. Kyle Carpenter in 15th with Trey Jackson in 16th. Brian Wilson will roll off 17th. Charles Hugel to his outside in 18th. Doug Pierce 19th, and Will Bustler will round out our top 20.
Then in 21st, it's going to be that of Ryan Lynch. 22nd, it's going to be our race control with Steve Benjamin. And Philip Chavez, again, not putting in a time. It's the 101, but he'll be finishing out the 22 drivers expected to race here tonight. A little bit of a smaller field than what we've seen previously, but I mean, Trevor, this is going to be a fun one to watch, especially if you've seen the Full Send Racing Series last year. Certainly up in the booth, we had an interesting time last time when we were at this track. We're hoping for some great racing, though, as last season, these drivers certainly did not have the same woes that we did have in the booth.
Yeah, some, I guess you could say, natural interference last season for us up in the booth on our end, and for the drivers, I mean, it was a little bit of a calamity-filled race for those guys in the Xfinity car, but here in the trucks, a much more planted vehicle. You got to be careful though with those cold tires. They're going to be a little loose on them at the first couple of laps, but I expect this to be a fairly clean race, but really packed on top of one another.
As the drivers get rolling off again, 133 laps here this evening. Going to be the stage break at the end of lap 40, so top 10 drivers at that point will get bonus points for themselves, as this is the perfect time for that of Travis Dart. He's going to need some good points for himself, as right now, one of the drivers outside looking in, trying to make our top 12 in the playoffs. Right now, I mean, there's still about 5 more races to go before the playoffs start, but this is the last push, really, to get yourself into the top 5. And at the cutoff marker, and kind of one of the last drivers to get into the playoffs, going to be that of Kyle Carpenter in the 77. Did not show some good speed last week. He's starting back in 15th position, and Andrew Medlin, who is going to be 13th in points, knocking on the door, that 4th position, and seeing the 77 back in 15th. We could be seeing a little bit of a swappage with the bonus points that can be grabbed when this race is done on who is going to be in the 12th in points to try to make the playoffs. But that's a lot of what ifs that could happen. It's time for us to see what is going to be the beginning of this race, as the pace car is about to make the hard left-hander to pit road. It's all clear for liftoff as the Full Send Racing Series ready for the Queen City 200, presented by Lap Traffic Podcast. We are green here at Charlotte as we see the 26 and the 2 roar down into turn number 1.
Fairly even start for both of those guys. They're still going to be side by side heading down into turn number 1, but Travis Dart going to pull ahead through the center of turn 1. Nick Collin going to pull into that of 3rd place past the 12 of Andrew Medlin. He's going to try to attack the 2 of Jonathan Woods here down the back straightaway, but just not quite alongside. I'm going to have to fall in line. Our top 4 now all single file.
Top 4 single filed out. Then it's going to be Austin Call and winner from last season, Kim Campbell, side by side for 5th place. But at turn number 4, it's the 26 machine of Travis Dart leading lap number 1. We head back into the start of lap number 2. Drivers trying to take it easy, and already a much cleaner start than what we did see last season, as there was already a wreck at this point, as the 26 able to hold steady for now. But it's going to be the question with these drivers. Oh, never mind. The 2, how long we're going to stay in line? Not for very long, as Jonathan Woods wants the lead as he powers back into the throttle, a little bit on the apron. But the 2 holds steady, but here comes that outside momentum. They're going to be side by side across the line. Give it to Jonathan Woods for lap 2.
Yeah, you can use that outside line to get a good run. We'll see what Travis Dart decides to do here in turn number 1, using that outside to his advantage, drives it in deep, see if he can build that momentum for himself, get the run down the backstretch, and it looks like he's going to retake that lead position from the 2 of Woods, and that's actually going to allow now the 68 of Nick Holland to get to the outside of the 2 machine. That battle for second now side by side in turn number 3.
I mean, multi-groove racing is what we're seeing at this current moment. Traditionally, it was stay down low, hit that blue line, and now Nick Holland no longer wants to be sitting and wait. He wants to try to lead a lap as the 68 throws it down low. He's got to be clear of that of Dart, and Dart, I mean, he already made a crossover move before. Will he have to make another attempt here for getting the lead back? As Holland looks secure, but down into turn number 3, here comes the 26, just staying stable. Thought he was going to dab it down low, deciding to protect those tires instead.
Yeah, last couple of laps on the outside for the 26 of Travis Dart, going to wear those tires out just a little bit. Running the bottom is going to be that preferred lane to save tire. You can use that top to make passes, but definitely want to be on the bottom to save. And Travis Dart just feeling like, hey, I'm going to fall back in line here, save what I can, and wait for the 68 to fall back, as the 68 has a big wiggle as he caught the apron out of turn number 2, but he's going to be able to hold on to the lead down the back straightaway.
Currently, right now, going to be our top 4 really taking off and being aggressive at this moment. Already half a second is the gap distance between 4th and 5th place, but from our leader to 5th place, a full second difference, as it is crazy to think how aggressive we're already seeing these top 4 drivers. But I mean, Trevor, this is what some drivers feel like they need to do, especially if you're looking for some good stage points here in the first 40 laps.
Yeah, and the drivers, Travis Dart needs good stage points here. Medlin needs good stage points. Even that of Cameron Sarton in 5th, Austin Call 6th. I mean, all those drivers, Sam, need good stage points, good results here in this race to help them get into that top 12, stay in the top 12 as well. So for these guys, they have to be aggressive, have to defend all these positions. Nick Holland, Jonathan Woods, they already have wins this season. So, I mean, they're just trying to maximize playoff points for themselves going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and for a lot of these drivers, they also have to recognize the fact that if you get a win now, that could potentially lock you into the playoffs. Already, we've had 8 different winners this season, 8 of those drivers locked in, meaning there's 4 spots that can be pointed into this race, as we're seeing that of the 8 machine of Jonathan Casey or Ken Campbell on screen, and the gaggle of cars and into the wall onto the outside. Driver trouble is for the 77 Kyle Carpenter, who is the cutoff driver for that of 12th position in points. And that is a worst case scenario for that of the 77, as you don't want any type of aero damage like that.
No, aero damage here is going to be extremely detrimental. And Carpenter, who was so close to getting that win last week at Pocono, coming off of turn number 3 before he got sideways and spun into the inside wall, now has to try to regroup and just hold on for what he can here until we get to that stage break and see how much damage he really has to the side of that 77 machine.
Currently, right now, able to continue to race on. No required damage for that Kyle Carpenter, but obviously don't want that damage to be suited at all, as he's running a patriotic scheme here at Charlotte. As it's usually, you come to Charlotte, it's a patriotic night. Was not the case scheduling-wise for that of the Full Send Racing Series. 77 still wanted to show off here this evening, as now going to be seeing some side-by-side action of that of Ross Tatum, as well as the 55 fill-in driver of Trey Jackson, who's going to be in that 13th position on the outside.
And Trey Jackson, I mean, showed decent speed last week at Pocono. Just in the short run, didn't have the long run speed to stick up with the top guys, but did a really good job filling in last week. I believe he was caught up in a wreck at some point late in that race, but a really good first race. And showing here, I mean, he's got pretty decent pace, at least in the short run, but trying to hold off right now the 30 and the 9 machine of Hugel and Wilson. Wilson using that outside line to drive around Hugel, and then that allowed the one of Will Bustler to try to get to the inside of that 30 machine as well.
Pick and choose where you need to go if you're going to be making some moves forward, as going to be seeing the one trying his best to get by that of Charles Hugel. Not able to fully clear just yet, but sitting behind them, going to be some other drivers that are in fill-in mode, as talk about Aaron Hale and where he's running at, trying their best. But up front, drivers getting aggressive for the lead. It's going to be that of Travis Dart, Nick Holland side by side. Dart was settled for that of second place for a little while, but now going to take right back to the lead. And now here comes Andrew Medlin in 4th place, trying to make it side by side for that of 3rd place.
Yeah, Medlin's just kind of been lurking there in 4th. It was Dart and Woods that were side by side for several laps, and they got that sorted out, and that allowed Dart to attack the 68 of Holland. Now Woods is going to dive it to the inside of the 68 machine to see if he can follow that 26 up to the front. Not quite clear of Holland, going to try to drift up there, but still not clear as Holland's going to hold on, at least for the time being, down the front straightaway.
Woods for now, but always going to be a big talking point that exited turn 4. Already saw Kyle Carpenter get into the outside wall. Who else could be having themselves some issues, as we're seeing our Daytona winner here racing in that is 2nd place, Jonathan Woods. This is probably one of the best runs we've seen Woods have since that Daytona win to start the season off. It's good to see drivers finally finding some momentum for themselves and running up front.
Yeah, and Woods just hasn't had the luck, I think. He's been caught up in several wrecks, had shown flashes, but just hasn't had the finishes that he wants. But here, off to a great start, up to 2nd position. Has a chance to go up here and get around that 26. He seems to be a little bit quicker than Travis down in turn number 3 and 4. Just hasn't been able to quite clear that 26 machine, but looking strong for Jonathan Woods early on here tonight.
Up front, driver still staying pretty single file for now. A little bit of jostling here or there, but really the true gaggle of cars trying to crack inside of the top 10, where we see these drivers going to be that of Chris Stitz leading and kind of being the valve that's holding off the rest of the drivers behind. As Austin Call, Nick Gould trying to hold back the rest of the field, as you also can see our leaders in that pack ahead, as Jonathan Woods takes the lead for the 2 machine.
Yeah, finally was able to get past that 26 of Dart. Did a really good job getting out of turn number 4, got to his inside, got that pass down the back straightaway, and now Medlin's going to try to attack the 26 and move himself up to 2nd. So Travis Dart goes from leading back to 3rd place now in just a matter of a lap.
A matter of a lap, as we're riding on board with that of Dart. Travis Dart in the 26 machine on the outside groove, just trying to figure out how to stay on the outside quarter panel of Andrew Medlin, as Medlin's already made that pass and fully clear, but it's that momentum out of the corner where that of the 26 is trying to get back into the throttle so much sooner, carry more momentum. Might be the longer way around, but usually we see that advantage kick in, but it just looks like Travis is struggling on those exit of the corners.
Yeah, he's really been struggling down in 3 and 4 on corner exit, especially when he's been running the bottom. We've seen multiple drivers. I mean, Holland's done it to him. Jonathan Woods did it, was able to get basically cross him over out of the corner, get to his inside. going into turn number 1 and get that pass done. So not quite sure what the issue is for Travis down in 3 and 4, but right here, just didn't get a good exit in that 26 machine. That's going to allow Nick Holland to go by him here, or at least attempt to, as they're going to be side by side through coming out of turn number 4.
Side by side and slowly marching their way forward. Going to be the 24 machine of Cameron Sarton as well as Ken Campbell, but it's Sarton who's the closest. The 24 looking good, and based off the last lap that was just ran, 24, the second fastest car on track. It was actually going to be that of the 15 of Ken Campbell back in 6th place, the fastest driver in our top 10. But the 24 looks good, trying to close in and make this a 5-horse race up front.
Slowly working his way up there, and it's helping him. Nick Holland and Travis Dart are battling side by side, but the issue is now that, well, they've got it sorted out now, but if they were still side by side, it wouldn't have left Cameron Sarton any room to go, as he's going to now look to the inside and attack Nick Holland down into turn number 1 to see if he can get that 4th position away from him, and does it easily before we even get to turn number 2.
As we have our cameras set on the Freaky Fast Racing teammates, Zach Hall, Ken Campbell, Campbell in 15, Zach Hall in the 32. They are currently trying to make their way onto this group that we were talking about previously. The 24 of Cameron Sarton, the 2-time champ, trying to make his 3rd championship in 4 seasons. What an accomplishment that could become, as Ross Statham came in last season, really spoiled the show for the 24, who was trying to get into a better groove. And I gotta say, for Cameron Sarton, what's crazy to think, this 24 is still searching for his first win this season, which, I mean, you would have thought it would have happened a lot more sooner, but still searching for it.
Is still searching for it, and honestly, apart from a couple of races this season, really hasn't been up front to get those finishes. Been in a couple of wrecks, just hasn't had the pace of the truck that I think he was hoping to have once we came back to it. But starting to slowly turn that season around, starting to build some momentum in that 24 machine. Same, and it's only going to be a matter of time, I think, before Cameron Sarton starts rattling off some wins.
Speaking about just in a matter of time, well, the 12 settled in 4th for the longest moment. Well, 21 laps at the halfway marker of this first stage. The 12 of Andrew Medlin trying to get back into the lead, and Medlin, who is out there, been looking good at moments. Thought maybe he was going to find himself in victory lane last week, but the 12, it could be this week where he's looking for that victory, as he has marched his way cleanly by himself to get to this lead position.
Yeah, it was looking good for him last week at Pocono. He and teammate Ken Campbell pretty much had that thing dominated from the drop of the green flag, working well to hold off the runs from behind him, but Campbell gets caught up in a late wreck, a 2-tire call from that of Kyle Carpenter, and then the calamity off of turn number 3 that allowed Nick Holland to get the win kind of spoiled the party for Andrew Medlin, but looking good here early on as he gets that lead from Jonathan Woods, but can't look too far behind him because Woods is still just lurking in that mirror, looking to find a way past that 12. And then here comes the 26 and the 24 of Dart and Sarton closing in on him.
It's honestly, looking at the times once again, it's Sarton that's looking like the biggest threat to get back up to the lead. And he has done so well at past races, that of Cameron Sarton, and actually was a driver that won back in season 2 when they were in this truck, led the most laps as this 24, and won the race. He's trying to double down on both of those stats here this evening, but he's doing it the hard way, working his way forward from 8th place, now up to 3rd after getting by Dart there.
Good move there to the outside, move him up to 3rd. Now has to chase down Jonathan Woods and Medlin, and he is on a mission right now. That 24 truck just looks really comfortable in the corners and gaining a lot of time on our race leaders. And he's going to get there, Sam, but, you know, he made the passes look easy, but now these top 2, I mean, they've been battling up front since they got around Travis Dart. Now, how hard is it going to be for him to get around Woods and Medlin?
I mean, based off the rate that I'm seeing this speed being clocked in, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for this 24. And he also talked about where he's been looking smooth in the corners, as we get to see the hands or seesawing it just a little bit, and that of the center off, but still looking pretty smooth. That of Cameron Sarton is get even a better view of the hands. I mean, Trevor, as we're watching the hands through 3 and 4, trying to stay low is the 24 machine.
To keep it low, doesn't look like it's really loose on him, doesn't look like it's too tight, looks really comfortable, really neutral for him right there. Didn't have to put a lot of wheel in corner exits to keep it off the wall. Looked really smooth, and again down here into turn number 1, nice arc all the way to the apron, or all the way there to the apron, and just look how smooth that is, Sam. That truck does not look like it's wanting to step out on him one bit as he continues to close in on Jonathan Woods.
That time on the entry of turn one, what's interesting is we're watching it on both sides of the track. Is the way that the 24 is entering very different from what we're seeing our leaders. A little bit more higher on the track, doing a lot more of a sweeping apex, sweeping entry into the corner, which is allowing to be higher, build more momentum in the center of the corner, and see here from above the fact that the 24 hitting the apron at the apex, same time as our other drivers ahead of them, but it just seems like really trying to conserve those tires in a better way.
Yeah, it allows you to save the tire a little bit. You're not as aggressive, on the bottom. You're not putting a lot of wear on the right front by just hugging the bottom line. You're not putting a lot of stress on the right rear by running the outside wall, but you're doing a really good job of like evenly distributing the wear across the tires when you do that arc. And also it allows you to carry more speed through the center of the corner as you're essentially driving it downhill. So it just allows you to carry more speed as Woods hits the apron in turn number 2, and he's going to push up the racetrack. And now this is going to give Cameron Sarton his chance to go up here and attack for second place.
Already to the bottom, going to be sticking it to the blue line as the 2 has to move up, and as these drivers slowly make their march forward, here comes the aggressive 15. The red machine in the background closing in as well. It's Ken Campbell and as well Zach Hall that have entered the fray. Our top 6 all within a second of one another right now.
And this is the fun part about Charlotte. I mean, everybody's got so many laps. Like we touched on at the start of the broadcast, this is the first mile-and-a-half track that a lot of the oval guys race around. So tons of laps from everything from street stocks to ARCA cars, to the old trucks, the legacy trucks even run around here. So these guys have a lot of laps around here, and this is what allows us to be, within a second of one another.
As here comes Zach Hall, going to be trying to make the pass over that of Travis Dark, who was in 5th place, another 32. Going to make this pass look pretty clean. Another driver that's going to be trying to make a passes if possible, hoping is Ross Tatum and Chris Stitz, 8th and 9th position. You're seeing that of the 21 and the 17. 2 drivers you probably don't want to see next to one another based off of their internet lows. Both of them have been showing for a majority of the season. So they're hoping that those internet wires are going to stay stable as they're around one another.
Yeah, hopefully they can not have many lag issues as they tend to usually have. And kind of weird to see Stitz so far back this late into a run. Typically we see him be very aggressive at the start of a run to get up front, but kind of taking it easy. Ross Tatum, on the other hand, we know his strategy: go easy, save the tires, and then work your way through the field as the run progresses. But coming to 9 to go here in the stage, just 21 and the 17, got to get a move on a couple more spots here. But they're going to be side by side on turn number 4 as Tatum's able to get to the inside of that of Stitz, and he's going to get that pass done before we get to the start finish.
Trying to make the pass as soon as possible. Chris Stitz already locked in the playoffs with his win. Ross Tatum leading all drivers points-wise without a win is the 21, and he's able to grab just a few more points in 8th position. As we've seen these drivers making their way forward, currently in the top 10. Biggest mover, Will Bustler, up 10 positions for the 1 machine. I feel like we've stated that he's been one of our biggest movers for most races that we go to. But seeing the 1 making his way forward around him is also going to be Austin Call. But Call needs to make this pass, gain 1 extra bonus point. But for Will Bustler, he wants to have that extra bonus point because he's in a hot battle with Cameron Sarton, with them being just a 1-point difference. But Sarton much further ahead. Expect to get more bonus points when we come to finish out this stage break again. Stage break at the end of lap 40 is Zach Hall making the pressure once again for 5th place.
Finally going to get this pass done here on Travis Dart. Took him a couple extra laps compared to his teammate Ken Campbell, but finally able to get that position taken away. So moving Zach up to 5th position here as Travis Dart falls back to 6th. And up front, Cameron Sarton able to finally get around the 2 of Jonathan Woods, but them battling allowed Ken Campbell to close in. So now our top 4 again, all going to be fairly close to one another as these laps wind down here in the stage.
Winding down as each lap takes on by, coming to 6 to go before the stage is done when they cross the line for the 12 of Andrew Medlin. And Medlin, very similar situation he was in last week, and he's just hoping to hit his marks, close in on the gap. Again, the drivers that were big note talking on, Kyle Carpenter, who needed a good points day today to make sure he stayed in the top 12 of points going into these next 5 races of the regular season. Right now, the 77 all the way back in 22nd position. Last place is Carpenter, who's still out there on track, but still heavily damaged for when he got on the wall all the way back on lap number 12. But Andrew Medlin looking good. As here's some other battles that are going on track. This is for that of 14th and 15th to get 14. And Nick Gould in the 9 of that of Ryan Wilson.
And Wilson's been using that outside line to make a couple of passes here, able to get around the 14 of Gould there. Now trying to chase down the 3 of Ryan Lynch, as they both almost caught the outside wall just a little bit out of turn number 4, just showing you how aggressive they're being, trying to carry as much momentum as they can on corner exit. But Wilson had a pretty decent run out of 2, just not able to get to the inside of the 3 of Ryan Lynch. Now going to try to set him up down here in the 3 and 4 and see what he can do. And Lynch is going to go high. Wilson's going to go low. We'll see who can get the better run here. So Wilson's going to have a huge run here coming out of turn number 4.
As we had our cameras set on that 17th run, that was the action going on in 14th that Trevor was talking about, as seeing it side by side, the 3 and also the 9 still side by side with one another. And that of Ryan Lynch doing his best, as these drivers not racing for stage bonus points. They are currently just trying to have the best positioning for that of the end of this stage for when they come into pit road. Gotta gain a little bit more track position. Speaking of track position, moving up to 3rd, going to be now Ken Campbell in the 15. He's trying to make his march to be a driver that can be a buffer for his teammate of Andrew Medlin, who continues to lead. 3 laps to go in this stage, as we're coming up to 2 laps to go when they cross the line again.
And that gap between Medlin and Sargent kind of evened out. Their lap time's about that of this, about the same. So no, not really closing in as the 24 of Sargent. Campbell, though, a little bit quicker than that of Sargent the last couple of laps. So he's slowly closing in, but I think he's even kind of plateaued here at the kind of closing rate that he was at. So I think our stage, Sam, pretty well set for our top 3, possibly 4, but Jonathan Woods has got to hold off a hard-charging Zach Hall in these last 2 laps.
Ricky Fast Racing team all inside of the top 5. Got out of Andrew Medlin, Ken Campbell, and Zach Hall. Hall trying to move his way forward. And for the 32, I mean, Trevor, as we're coming to the white flag of this stage, it's got to be feeling good that Zach Hall has confidence in this steering wheel that he actually can race, unlike last week where he kind of stayed in last position all night long until it was the final stint where he actually was able to push and came away with that 8th place position, as seeing these drivers trying to position for themselves. But Andrew Medlin, the 12 machine, got the lead, was patiently waiting for drivers in front of him to make mistakes, went from 4th to the lead in just a slow margin of 20 laps, and after that he never looked back. It's the 12 of Andrew Medlin winning here for stage racing at that of Charlotte. They wait for the top 10 to cross the line, then the yellow will be thrown. There it is, Andrew Medlin winning the stage here this evening.
That's what he needed to do, maximize as many stage points as he can to help move himself up in the points. I think he won the stage as well last week at Pocono, so 2 stage victories in a row for him in back-to-back weeks. Now we'll see if he can close the deal here and get the win here tonight, but pit stops are going to be important. See if he can get back out there in the lead, but he's got some hard chargers right behind him. Sargent Campbell, Zach Hall, Ross Tatum, all up into the top 10 now after their qualifying runs, so he's got some work ahead of him.
Will Bustler, right when the stage came out, got bumped to that 11th place. So Austin Call going to get 10th, meaning inside of our top 10, biggest mover was Zach Hall, up 9 positions. The only driver inside of our top 6 that went backwards going to be that of Jonathan Woods. And really, for the 2 machine, down 2 spots, he qualified 2nd. Everyone else has moved forward. Certainly, seeing that when we go green, there is a lot of movement for drivers that just have one hot lap. They need to find a little bit more consistency, where our pole setter of that of Travis Dark going to be back in 7th place. He's got to find some extra speed, as he's been passed by some of the favorites all season long. Here we go into pit road, though, and here is the hope that you don't make any mistakes.
So I noticed right as the stage caution came out, Sam, the 24 Cameron Sargent got into the wall entering turn number 1, so a little bit of right side damage for that 24 machine. Not sure if he's going to have enough to stay on pit road and get that fixed, but that could be something that, could really hurt him here in this latter half of the race. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to have an extra long pit stop, but everybody's so far good into their boxes as pit stops are underway.
Andrew Medlin kind of breaking a little bit earlier than I think he wanted to. Could be costing him just a couple of milliseconds, but really it's got to be somebody outshining the 12, and that's not going to be the case. Andrew Medlin, too good on pit road. He will come out in first. Second's going to be Ken Campbell, And the 24, like you noted on with the damage there, Trevor, staying in pit road. He falls all the way to the tail end of the field.
Yeah, and it was just that little bit. I don't know if it was a mental lapse there, just getting out of the throttle when the caution came out for the stage, or just kind of misjudged his entry, but got up into that outside wall and didn't look like he hit it too hard, but enough that he felt like he needed to stay on pit road, get that damage fixed, and now he's going to have a long night ahead of him to get back up to where he was.
Yeah, I mean, that is a worst case scenario for some drivers, because we talked about getting any type of damage, especially aero damage, going to be a big thing. That of Kyle Carpenter still in pit road for the 77. He's got to get those repairs finished up. As Cameron Sarton has been able to get those repairs, it looks to be only about that of 15 seconds, or 20 seconds, excuse me, for that of the 24 to be on pit road for the damage. So not too bad, but we'll see how well he can climb through this field, as we've had no on-track yellow so far. We raced the whole entire 40 laps until we got our stage yellow to come out. Andrew Medlin going to be the winner of the stage. Let's see if we can get our word from that of our stage winner. Let's put him in the waiting room and let's pull him up. We can queue up the 12, as let's see if we got him. Andrew Medlin, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. You got us?
Got a copy, boys.
Well, another stage win for the 12 machine. You're looking on fire out there with your patience to get up to the lead. But man, how is it feeling out there in that truck?
I'll tell you what, like we talked about last week at the race, Charlotte's a good track for me, but there's a lot of other guys out there here that are hungry, and it's a great track for them as well. So got to remain patient. I ran a little bit harder than I wanted to on that run, so you might see a little bit more conservative laps here out of the get-go, but overall feel good. So just got to try and bring home that W tonight.
I mean, Andrew, you came up 600 feet, 700 feet short last week at Pocono, looking good. I mean, you got your teammate again, your rear gunner essentially right behind you in second, and then Zach Hall not too far down. I know they're not just going to lay over for you, but again, teammates around you just got to feel pretty good here at Charlotte.
Yeah, I know we got it at Freaky Fast Racing. We got a good race strategy here, and everyone's putting in the effort and patience here in this race. So, hopefully, don't want to be greedy, but if we can somehow pull off a 1-2-3 finish in any position, I'll be very happy. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of good guys out here and a lot of hungry drivers. So certainly don't expect it, but a goal we're striving for.
Well, that certainly would be ambitious to see all three of you guys finish 1, 2, 3. But Andrew, with the lights off, we'll send you back to your team. Good luck here tonight, and hopefully we're talking to you in victory lane.
We'll certainly need it. Have a good call, boys.
As that's going to be the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin, winner of the stage. Is stacking up. I mean, Trevor, you talked about it, the team aspect with that of Andrew, but listening to that interview, anything that stuck out hearing from the 12?
Definitely. I feel like he wasn't as confident as I thought he was going to be. I mean, he dominated there once he got to the lead, but knows that, hey, there's a lot of fast drivers behind him. We saw that Jonathan Woods, Travis Start, they were quick on the short run, and anything can happen here. They could get up front, clean air. If he loses too many positions, he said he was going to be a little bit patient here, but if he loses too much time, could be hard for him to recover. And he's got his teammates right there too, Sam. We know Campbell, Zach Hall, they're quick, and they're not just going to roll over for this 12 machine to get him a win into the playoffs. So he's got some work to do, but we'll see what happens here as we're getting ready to go back green.
I got to say, the one thing I think I'm surprised by, the fact that he felt like he was pushing too much, even though it really looked like he was being the most patient of the front runners at the start of that stage. Well, there's no more stage racing. It's all about taking it to the end now. Who is going to win here at Charlotte for the Queen City 200, presented by the Lap Traffic Podcast, as we are into the restart zone, back underway. Green flag action for the Full Send Racing Series, and the teammates already in line, heading down in turn number 1.
It's deja vu all over from last week. The two teammates back, bumper to bumper with one another. Medlin, Campbell, 1-2. Travis Dart able to jump the two of Woods, who didn't get the greatest of restarts, but Dart's going to look to be aggressive here, see if he can get by the 15 and separate those two teammates, but he's going to have to ride in the line here. But he's going to come under attack now from the 21 of Ross Tatum.
After the stage, I think a lot of drivers are going to be getting some information. Where was I being a little bit too passive, or do I need to get a little bit more aggressive? And I see the 21 is picking the more aggressive approach. Ross Tatum, probably the most aggressive we've seen him ever on a start of a run.
completely surprised by this from the 21 of Tatum, but wanting that clean air, wanting to get up front, and 2 for 1 on the front straightaway just like that. Gets by Dart, gets by Campbell, and just instantly going to attack the 12 of Medlin, but falls back here in turn number 3 and 4, see if he can set him up for a good run here down the front straightaway.
Trying to set up, find a little bit of speed is going to be this 21 machine as last season's champion of Ross Tatum. Where to go is the true question. I mean, it looks like he wants to dive down low, but he was pretty confident. He settles in, gets the passes and the moves that he wanted early, and now wait out, see what he's going to do here. And I'm surprised. Again, so much more aggressive than we usually see that 21 of Ross Tatum be. Usually he's the driver that's a lot more passive. He waits for the race to come to him, setting up for the long run, not trying to brutalize those tires in the early going by putting down fast lap after fast lap. He'll conserve, wait. That was a very aggressive start, but it was only in the first couple of laps. Now he's just been sitting behind a driver who just stated he might be a little bit more patient of Andrew Medlin.
And here he goes, though, with a good chance here out of turn number 2. Medlin got a little loose, and it's going to allow that 21 to attack him down the back straightaway into turn number 3. And Medlin's just going to let him by, not fight that 21 machine. So move Ross Tatum up to the lead now, as he's been, like you said, super aggressive here on the restart. Now has that clean air and see what he can do here now that he's up front.
He's right on board with 17 of Chris Stitz, who's getting a wall, nowhere to go. Is the 17, and behind him they're going to be 3 wide. Going to be the fill-in driver of that of Aaron Hale on the outside, able to make the pass for himself. Nick Holland going backwards, the winner from last week, and here comes Will Bustler as well, but it's the 94 of Hale. He's trying to squeeze in where there's no spot. I think he might be a fill-in driver, but he is certainly showing the aggression as the 94 of Hale. He races a lot of these drivers in other nights, in other leagues, but he certainly knows his way to get around this track right now.
And Aaron Hale, another driver, Sam, that typically, especially last season when he was full-time, and even now as a fill-in driver, one that we typically don't talk about as being aggressive, just kind of lets the race come to him, being really aggressive here on the start of the race, making up tons of positions as he's gone by the 32 of Zach Hall, now to the outside of the 15 of Ken Campbell. Out of turn number 4, he's going to get that pass done, and that 94 machine just making up ground left and right.
And talking about kind of a surprise now into the top 10 behind this 94. It's the 99er winner from Auto Club. John Dart's cracked into the top 10.
Everybody's just, trying to get what they can. The question is going to be, Sam, are they being too aggressive? Is the saving tire strategy from the 12 of Medlin, the 15 of Campbell, the 32 of Zach Hall, is that going to pay off as Tatum Woods, Travis Dart, Aaron Hale, John Dart, and those guys have been aggressive? Is it going to come back to bite them as this run continues?
I mean, I think for that of Andrew Medlin, for also Ken Campbell and Zach Hall, who are being kind of patient on this approach, while other drivers are being a lot more aggressive, they, because of the way that the ending of the stage landed, they actually had advanced their positionings from where they qualified. So backing off puts them for that of Ken Campbell back to where he qualified in 6th place. For Andrew Medlin, he's qualified for that 4th. He's still in 3rd. Zach Hall, he started in 14th in this race, currently in 7th, meaning that when this switch up happens, they're gonna be further up ahead. They could be a massive threat in the long run. Watch out around that lap 65 to 70. Watch out for a lot of these drivers that are just in a wait to really go make the push, as we're waiting to see who's going to be making any type of waiting approach, as Aaron Hale is up to 3rd at this time. He's being so aggressive here, Trevor, that I'm now concerned for the 94 that these tires might even blow up on him with how hard he's pushing right now.
I mean, I hats off to him. I mean, he's made up so much ground here on this restart. Up to 3rd, it might go here for 2nd place on Jonathan Woods, the rate he's going, but like you just said, though, I mean, he's in real issues here. And once we get to that lap, 63 mark, how far and how quickly is that 94 going to fall off compared to everybody else around him? Is, again, he's just going to go to the outside here, the 2 of Jonathan Woods, and see if he can just power around him on the outside.
I mean, some drivers, like I said, their stage break gave you a lot of knowledge. Did you need to push, be aggressive, or did you need to be a little bit more passive on saving your tires? And right now, I think the 94 obviously got the word of, yeah, we're saving just too much on that first stage. Get a little bit more aggressive. Well, obviously, they turned that knob all the way to 11, and he is now battling for 2nd place. Aaron Hale, Joshua Altus must be loving the fact that he's seeing the Fizz fill-in driver succeeding so much right now, as we're on lap 56, coming to 57 here tonight.
I mean, Altus is sitting somewhere just cheering on this 94 machine as he continues his march forward. Didn't get a good exit there out of turn number 4, though. That allows Woods to get back to his inside. That battle for second is going to continue down here in the turn number 1 and 2. But Aaron, again, you're going to try to use that outside line, that momentum, maybe a little bit of draft help here from the 12 of Medlin to clear the 2 of Woods. But Woods holding on strong on that inside line as it continues again down into turn number 3.
For Andrew Medlin, a little bit of deja vu. He's stuck in 4th place, just waiting until he needs to make a move forward or someone else make a mistake, as he's where he's at this current time, as we have been green for that at 12 laps, and it has been an entertaining 12 laps since our stage break. Do want to give updates. Drivers deeper in the field, as that of Jonathan Casebeer has fallen back to 22nd position. That of Kyle Carpenter has moved up to 21st, but the driver of note, gotta say, 17th position currently right now. It's the 24 machine of Cameron Sarton, who finished up front in our top 3 at the end of the stage. But Trevor, he's only been able to move up to 17th currently.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's just him trying to save tire for the long run here, knowing that he has that little bit of damage, or if it's just that little bit of damage that he got from getting into the outside wall in turn number 1 that's really affecting that 24, as he has made up a lot of ground here on the restart, but still looking fairly quick. Looking at the lap times, I mean, he ran a quicker lap than our leader, Ross Tatum, did that last time by, so still speeding that 24 machine, Sam. He's got a long recovery road ahead of him.
That he certainly does, as we are finding these drivers single filing out. It is a perfect time for us to step away as we're closing in on the halfway marker here very shortly, as you are watching the Full Send Racing Series. It's race number 10 of the regular season, as it has been a good one to watch for these truck drivers. We will step aside. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Send Racing Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As you're seeing drivers falling back and others trying to hold their lines. It's the 94 heroic run by that of Aaron Hale, but he is starting to go backwards. But for the Full Send Racing Series, they are presented by Lap Traffic Podcast. If you're looking for a quality podcast to cheer you through the day, head on over and listen to a Lap Traffic Podcast episode right now. And as well, if you want to start getting into creating your own racing rig, well, you might want this product, and that's a ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Feel, instead of hearing just the sounds, why not feel the sounds with the ButtKicker Gamer 2? Once you get your Gamer 2, you're going to need a rig to set that up with, and that's exactly why you head over to Next Level Racing to get yourself comfort while feeling like you're in the racing surface right now. Next Level Racing, and to all the other sponsors for Full Send Racing Series, thank you so much. As we are currently on lap that is 73. For these drivers, it's Ross Tatum leading the way for the 21 after his early aggression after our last restart. He's got the positioning, but watch out on the speed. That of Andrew Medlin is on the move for that 12 machine. Aaron Hale, who climbed all the way up to that second place after starting on that last restart deep in the field. The 94 has now fallen almost outside of the top 10. It was a great surge, but now it's down to the drivers that were patient, that are now making their push to get to lead, or at least up in the top 5. Here they come, getting ready for this push, and we cannot wait to take you to this end of this race here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, what a run that we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, it was really a tale of two different styles of racing. There at the start of the stage, we saw Tatum and Aaron Hale be really aggressive, and Tatum did a good job of using that aggression to get to the lead and then kind of mellowing out there and able to hold on to the lead. Aaron Hale, after his hard charge up to the front, you can just see the wear that it took on those tires in the 94 machines, falling all the way back to 9th. And you've got Medlin, Woods, Campbell, Dart, Zach Hall, who've all kind of taken the easy approach, starting to work their way back up to the front as Medlin's closing in on our leader, Ross Tatum, and Jonathan Woods we're kind of starting to fall back there at the stage. Sam doing a really good job in this run, saving those tires, following that 12 machine as he's been able to hold on to third place.
Only for that it's for third is the 2, but we got to watch out for the 15, Ken Campbell. He is starting to try to make his way forward. Same for Zach Hall as they don't get by that of Travis Dart. Chris Stitz is also starting to make his way forward, and I think we're really starting to see that true swing now as drivers preparing and pit stops. Trevor, I mean, we were trying to talk about it during that commercial break and trying to get our own thoughts on when we would think for drivers coming to pit road. What exactly is the numbers that you're expecting some of these drivers to hit pit road for themselves?
So we were saying about 50 laps is the fuel run for these guys. So, stage break at lap 40, pit at lap 41, a couple of pace laps. Somewhere around that 95, 98 lap range, I would hazard a guess to say, based off of how much fuel they could save under caution. Maybe see a couple guys come in a little earlier, maybe around lap 91, 92 for the undercut. So it could be interesting to see what they choose to do here. And again, once we get to that point state, it's going to be about maximizing pit entry, pit exit without getting a penalty. We've seen penalties kill guys before, so they're just going to have to watch out for that when we get to that stage.
Do not want to get caught at all with any death penalties on coming in, out, or during pit road, nor do you want to find any issues of being slow on entry or exit. As his current time, Ross Tatum leading the way. Andrew Medlin now going to be less than 2/10, about to prepare to make a pass here shortly. Seems to be for the 12, as well as starting to see the 2, Jonathan Woods, top 3, within 0.3 of one another. But on screen, we're seeing that of Chris Stitz, Will Bustler, this is 6th and 7th, as well as you fall all the way down to that of seeing the third machine of Ryan Lynch. Aaron Hale still attached to this group somehow. And right now, top 10 drivers, at least for that of going to be 4th to that of 10th. Going to be about a 1.5 second difference between these drivers, all pretty much equal distance on trying to continue to run close enough to one another. But looking at these drivers and the times that they're putting in, going to be almost about a 1.5 seconds, a little bit less than a 1.5 seconds is the speed difference from the driver's best lap that they put in to current lap that they just put this last time by. And that means there's not a lot of advantage it's going to look like on the drivers that are going to be pitting sooner than the other drivers. Yes, there is an advantage, but not as big as I was expecting to see on some of the older setups and older races that we've seen before, where it's usually 2 seconds or more going to be the major difference when we're thinking about pit stops.
Yeah, and typically it used to be, like you said, a lot different in tire fall off, but with kind of the updates in tire models, the tire fall off's not as drastic as it used to be. So, I feel like the undercut, you're kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to guys who come in, 1 or 2 laps after you do, just because that 1 to 2 laps is going to really hurt you later in the run. We've seen it before where guys have been able to get out to that 1.5 second gap and then get run down by drivers who pit 2 or 3 laps after them. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here once we get to the cycle of unified pit stops.
Again, those green flag pit stops expected in the next 10 to that of 15 laps. As for the passing expected to be shown here, some movement up front for that of 2nd place. Going to be Jonathan Woods getting by that of Andrew Medlin. Medlin not able to hold that 2nd place position, and Jonathan Woods, like the 2, wants to be making the moves as a lot of our front runners running well as they've been doing so far here this evening. Other drivers in the middle of the pack that I'm kind of surprised on how well they're running has to be the driver that is in 14th position. Documented the fact that he got into the wall after the stage yellow came out. Cameron Sarton, 14th position. He's done a decent job trying to make his march forward. He started all the way back in 21st on our stage restart. And Trevor, he's now trying to get by last week's winner of Nick Holland for 13th.
Yeah, Nick Holland's kind of fallen off from where he was at the stage break. Sam, that 68 machine really struggling this runner. On this run, and Sarton looks to the outside, just doesn't have that momentum to really close in on the 68 machine. He close it a little bit here on the French relay, but for Sarton, doing a really good job, mitigating the damage that he received there at the stage break to try to work his way back up through the field using this long runs to his advantage. And honestly, his lap times aren't that far off from what our leaders are running, about a 10th off of what that of Zach Hall, Will Bustler, and Aaron Hale are running, as they were some of the fastest trucks on the track that last time by.
and really showing if a caution comes out, could be seeing this 24 get back into the mix of being a driver that could be a threat for these drivers. We've only had one caution, and it was our stage yellow back at the end of lap 40. And if you look back in the past, season 2, back when they were running in the trucks, it was around only one caution, and it was the stage caution that came out that made it for that whole entire race, where we got to see Cameron Sarton lead the most laps and win. Doesn't look like he's going to get that award. But we're already seeing 2 drivers hit pit road. Nick Gould, Kyle Carpenter, going to be the first takers into pit road.
Yeah, Kyle Carpenter is still trying to recover from the damage that he received early on in the race when he got into the outside wall. Nick Gould, who's just kind of fallen back, they're going to come in for a really early stop to see if they can just use that to their advantage to gain some track position. Trey Jackson as well down pit road in that 55 machine. So early pit stops for these guys to see if they can make up some track position and hold off these guys later in the run.
Trey Jackson into pit road. Over the radio, John Dart saying he's going to be coming into pit road. Also for one of the drivers inside of our top 10, Ryan Lynch, who was 10th position runner into pit road. So we were questioning, hey, the undercut maybe was not the strategy, but some drivers feeling like they need to throw a Hail Mary if they're going to have a chance to win here or get a good finish this evening, as those big movements going to be made for the drivers that are pitting right now. How much time are they going to make up? Because for our leaders, we're expecting to still stay out there for another 5 to 6 more laps. And they could try to push a little bit further. But the question is, how much fuel were they able to save as the battle for the lead, really our battle for the top 6, all within a second, as that Kyle Carpenter is going to rip the top with the fresh rubber.
And this is where our leaders are going to have to be careful. Fresh tires are going to cycle out in the middle of their battle here. Carpenter is going to use that outside line to his advantage. Ken Campbell looked to have a little bit of a look to the inside of his teammate of Andrew Medlin for 3rd position, but tucks back in line. The Freaky Fast racing machines are all nose to tail, 3rd through that of 5th position. So those guys all lined up now, and they can run between Jonathan Woods and the 21 of Ross Tatum to have the trifecta here that Medlin was talking about at our stage break.
Could it happen? I think if all 3 of them wait until the very last moment to come into pit road as a group, they could try to maximize that speed. As Charles Hugel leaving pit road, entering pit road, going to be our pole sitter of Travis Dart, who's going to be entering his boxes. The drivers for our leaders trying to hold strong. Still no one up front. Our top 6 have made the call. They could still go for another 4 more laps on fuel-wise at least. But again, we have the caution flag, may allow maybe an extra lap or 2. So the drivers could be thinking, like you said, their driver about that of 96 to 97. If they make it to 98, that is an impressive run for some of these drivers.
It really would be. I'm thinking now, as we've seen these guys cycle through, I'm thinking 91 to 93, as it looks like Jonathan Woods is going to be the first of our race leaders to bring his machine down pit road. So Woods entering from 2nd position to take his pit stop, and Sam, I think that's going to kick off our top 10, or what's left of our top 10, to all come down pit road.
And as well, joining with that, Jonathan Woods, going to be Brian Wilson, Nick Holland joining the fray. And with these drivers so close to one another, they have to make sure they're clear over the radio. You're coming into pit road, because one mistake, someone miscalling, they're coming to pit road, they easily can back up and cause calamity. As you're seeing all 5 of these drivers on screen, this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all in this shot, nose to tail, and it's Ross Tatum who's going to be having the assistance of Austin Collin, of that Jonathan Casebeer, splitting up 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, it was when the 2 of Jonathan Woods came down pit road. It kind of checked up Medlin, Campbell, Hall, and Bustler there, and allowed that 21 machine to pull out to about a half a second gap from those guys. So really kind of used that to his advantage. And again, all these guys stay out, but here comes the 12 of Medlin down pit road, along with the 94 of Aaron Hale. So 2 more of our leaders down pit road, as the rest of them stay out for another lap.
Great job by the freaking Fast Racing teammates, moving high, giving plenty of room for the 12 to slow down, get into the box, get into pit entry, As right now, nobody's been caught with speeding, and that is going to be a continued just scare. Don't want to have any issues, and a driver does, who just got fresh rubber. Brian Wilson in the 9 machine in 18th place, just had an issue at turn number 4, went through the grass. We stay green.
Stay green, and here comes our race leader, Ross Tatum, down to pit road. He's going to bring the 21 machine down along with Will Bustler down pit road. So another two of our drivers come down on lap 93, and now it's the two freaky fast trucks. Ken Campbell, Zach Hall, Chris Stitz still have yet to make their pit stops along with Cameron Sarton and Philip Chavez. They're going to be the last 5 trucks to come down and make their pit stops, and we'll see if they decide to come in this time by or stay out for another lap.
As we see the 15 machine going to be low, and he is slowing down. Zach Hall going to stay out for an extra lap. Here comes Chris Stitz into pit road with 15 to Ken Campbell. Cameron Sarton into pit road for the 24 machine, and Philip Chavez going to come into pit road. Zach Hall, the driver that stays out the longest for the 32, just one lap further. The drivers that have made it to this point.
Yeah, Zach Hall is going to be the last of our leaders. It's going to be interesting to see who cycles out first. Looks like it might be the 3 of Ryan Lynch, Travis Dart, John Dart are going to be the ones that cycle out our top 3, followed by Jonathan Woods and Andrew Medlin. Zach Hall brings that 32 machine down pit road, and Sam, that looks really quick.
Oh, we're going to keep our eyes. Was there a penalty going to give to the 32 machine? No black flag yet to be seen, and I think he's clear. Not speeding into entry of pit road. That was a gutsy entry by the 32.
I mean, that from the onboard camera, I think that looked a lot quicker than what it was. But I mean, that right there, I think, is maximizing your pit entry. Zach Hall did a great job getting on pit road right there in the 32.
That he certainly did, as we now are in the push, the charge. Who's going to be in the lead at the end of this pit cycle? It's Ryan Lynch in the 3, Travis Dart trying to make the pass. He's got John Dart, Jonathan Woods, Andrew Medlin. And see the drivers that pitted extremely early going to be up front in the lead as the front 2 are. And the undercut certainly has worked out great for them, but now they have to figure out to hold on for that 30-plus laps are these drivers right now.
And they got about a second and a half gap back to that of Jonathan Woods, Andrew Medlin. And for Woods, I mean, he was the first of our race leaders that really came down pit road, so he's got 2-lap older tires than that of Medlin, 3-lap older tires than that of Tatum and Campbell and those guys, so it's going to be hard, I think, for Woods to hold on, but he's had speed. You can just see it right there in the back of shot. He's got Andrew Medlin right behind him.
He really does, and Andrew Medlin just has to make this pass very quickly. Ross Tatum going to be trying to make the charge to close in as the 21, who's going to have 1 lap advantage over the 12. And everyone else, you just look through one advantage. Ken Campbell, he is stuck in a gaggle of cars back in 10th place. Zach Hall, though, who stayed out the longest, he is 7 seconds back from our leader, and he is back in 14th place. This seems to be a mountain that's going to have to be climbed for that of the Fruit Stripes machine. But Andrew Medlin looking the most likely now to have himself a good shot. But if we're going to see a caution, it's going to be with this gaggle of cars for 10th place.
Yeah, almost a little bit of contact there between Campbell and the 55 of Trey Jackson. They got a little close up with each other on corner exit. Will Bustler trying to find a way through as well. They also got Austin Call in the 18, the 68 of Nick Holland, all trying to get around these trucks that pitted a little bit earlier. You just see how much they're having to move around here on corner exit. Nick Holland almost got into the outside wall down the back straightaways. Chris Stitz now going to follow suit as they cleared the 55 machine.
Chris Stitz being the biggest loser right now. He has just not been able to find an opening, as Ken Campbell will get an opening for himself. As Travis Dart finally able to get by that of Ryan Ward and shooting in the 3 machine. Andrew Medlin, though, closing in on our top 2. Jonathan Woods was not able to defend the 12 machine, showing that if this race stays green for the next 34 laps, watch out for the 12 to be the winner here tonight. Potentially, the driver with fresher tires than the 12 going to be that of the 15 you see on screen, with a 2-lap advantage over that of Andrew Medlin, and Zach Hall back in 14th, as he's still 6 seconds back. But from the last time we talked about Zach Hall, he's already gained a full second on our leaders.
Yeah, already gained that second. And for that of Campbell, Aaron Hale, Will Bustler, Chris Stitz, I mean, there's 4 or 5 seconds behind that of Medlin, as Medlin's closing in on Travis Dart. And Ryan Lynch closing in as Medlin's kind of stuck in this traffic trying to get around the 26 machine. But I think Lynch Jonathan Woods there kind of just in the worst case scenario is he's going to be on the oldest tires of all our leaders that came down pit road.
A lot of different strategies all around, but for the lead, this could be the winning move for Andrew Medlin as he dives it down low. A great exit out of turn number 2, trying to get by that of Travis Dart. Dart, our pole sitter, trying to defend, but he's a sitting duck. That is a 4-lap advantage on tires. Give it to Medlin, taking the lead, and with 30 laps to go, he is looking good for that of the 12 machine, as he is now going to get one slight pressure, but it's not going to be enough. The tires are just too strong for the center off. There goes Medlin.
Yep, got that clean air now, can just settle in to find a rhythm, take care of those tires. No real pressure out back, as he's got Travis Dart on the old tires, and then Jonathan Woods already a second and a half behind our race leader, and he's on the newer tires of our top 5 drivers, and then it's a full 3 seconds back to that of Ross Tatum in the 21.
But again, the driver on the freshest tires, Zach Hall, he is cut away another second on the leaders. He is now making the pass for that of 12th place, and now trying to make the move for 11th, and he's 5 seconds off. It still is a mountain to climb, but he's done a fabulous job in the last 10 laps to carve it down by that of 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's got to get through this traffic and get through it quickly if he wants to have any chance at running down his teammate, the 12 of Andrew Medlin. Right behind here, behind the 68 of Nick Holland. Nick Holland going to go a little high off of turn number 4. That's going to give Zach Hall the chance that he needs to get this pass done, and he needs to get it done quick. Down here into turn number 1, it looks like he's going to have that move done.
Has the move done, and now Zach Hall going to be trying to settle in. He's got another about half a second before he catches up to Will Bustler, and another huge gaggle of cars that he has to get by. It's a group of about 7 as drivers on old tires, drivers on new. They are scattered everywhere, as going to be having that of Jonathan Casebeer that really shook up this pack and hurt John Dart the most.
Yeah, it really checked up the 99 of Dart. He's now going to go to the inside of Casebeer, try to get that position, or try to get around that lap truck there. Is they all work their way through there, and that could have been where we saw a caution from. We saw all the movement, but everybody able to get through it. Just look at the closing distance between Zach Hall and that of that of John Dart. That's almost 9-lap difference in tires there, and that 32 machine is on the move, Sam.
He is on the move, and it's down to 4.5 seconds. He has closed the gap by 2.5, but it's still a lot, as it is now less than 30 laps to go. That last time by still was just 1/10 faster than Andrew Medlin, but the main reason for that was because Zach Hall had so much traffic in front of him. With all that traffic and still being faster, shows the strength that's in the 32, but that lap could be the biggest costly lap for the Zach Hall to even have a chance to catch up to Andrew Medlin.
Yeah, the other problem he's going to have right in front of him that he's catching up to, Aaron Hale, Stitz, Campbell, Bustler. I mean, these are not going to be easy drivers to pass, even on pressure tires. And they're battling with one another. Is Stitz just not able to get around that 94 of Aaron Hale quite yet, trying to go to the outside around this 94 machine, as that's a battle there for 6th and 7th, 8th, or 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, as they're all on top of one another. Stitz finally able to get that pass done down the back straightaway.
Able to make the pass be done, and now going to be reset, try to go forward. And Stitz finally is caught to the back bump for Ross Tatum. Tatum has not been able to go forward in this 21. I'm getting concerned if he's going to have any chance of even trying to close in the gap. He's 3 seconds off our leader. Oh boy, this is coming down to the wire. As each lap that ticks away, the question looms, who could catch up to Andrew Medlin, because the gap to second continues to grow.
Yeah, it's still growing. I'd say closing in just ever so slightly. I mean, by just a minuscule margin, Jonathan Woods was faster than Andrew Medlin that last lap, but just not enough to really close in any ground. And on those 2-lap older tires, I don't know if he's going to be able to. That time by, again, just slightly quicker than Medlin, but it could be just a case of Medlin knowing he's got such an advantage that he can kind of back off a little bit and save some time.
Even the tires hoping for the best, as Chris Stitz throws it down low, able to get by, or try to get by that of Ross Tatum. Will get by the 21. Zach Hall sees a wall in front of him. He might have to go 3 wide, as he's going to be trying to go high. Won't be able to. The one's going to defend that position, and here comes the forced issue. Zach Hall needs to make this pass quickly. The longer he sits behind, he throws away any opportunity of catching up to our leader. He's less than 4 seconds off, which is great to see, but he is now still just every lap that goes on by, the worse those tires are going to get, and the worse of an opportunity he's going to have to catch up to his teammate.
Yeah, I think the issue for Zach's going to be once he gets through all this traffic, is he going to have any life left in the tires to really go up there and try to run down Andrew Medlin, Jonathan Woods, and those guys? But he's got so much work to do ahead of him. Got to get around Will Bustler, Ken Campbell, Ross Tatum, Chris Stitz, and then run down Travis Dart and Jonathan Woods, still gaining time on our race leader. But those laps continue to tick away, Sam. Time is running out on this 32 machine.
That it is running out. The driver that's on the move, actually, is that Chris Stitz, who was running 2/10 faster than our leader that last time by. Let's see this go around for the 17 and see Zach Hall get by the 1. Still waiting on figuring out how to get by this other group, but Stitz up to 3rd. He was slower that last lap, but that's because he was trying to pass drivers. Now he's got a little bit of clean air. Let's see what type of a rocket ship is left in the 17. He had 2-lap advantage over Andrew Medlin, but did he use up those tires too much?
That's gonna be the question here. Now has a cleaner got around Travis Dart, brought the 21 of Ross Tatum with him. So those two now clear of that 96 or that 26 machine, and only a 1-lap difference in tires between that of Stitz and Tatum. But both of them have the tire advantage over Andrew Medlin and Jonathan Woods. So we'll see if they can run down that 2 machine, and then once they get around Woods, if they'll have anything left to run down the 12 of Andrew Medlin.
Tires for 20 more laps here tonight at Charlotte. You're watching the Queen City 200 presented by Lap Traffic Podcast. It's the Full Send Racing Series, as is race number 10 of the season. And my name is Sam Dyer. With me is that of Trevor Earhart. And Trevor, what a race it has been so far. The craziest thing to state, we've only had 1 caution all night long. It was our stage caution. This is looking almost identical to the way that our season 2 went down for these drivers, where they only had 1 caution back when they were driving the trucks back in that season.
Yeah, really identical to that, just that stage caution. We thought we were going to have maybe a couple more. We saw how chaotic it was in that battle for 6th on back, especially when they were going around lap traffic, but they were able to sort that out now, with Tatum kind of falling back now into the clutches of Ken Campbell and his teammate Zach Hall, as that 12 or the 17 of Stitz really starting to pull away from that battle there for 5th through 7th position, and trying to chase down Jonathan Woods. Looking at the lap times, it was faster than Woods, but not that much quicker than our leader Andrew Medlin, Sam.
No, not at all. And I think that's a big thing for Andrew Medlin, is he is putting down just as fast laps as some of the fastest drivers on track right now. The 12, oh no, he chased it, and it's our winner from last week, Nick Holland, spinning out. A caution flag waves. Let's throw everything away. Let's try to get a little bit more racy as the drama-filled action begins here tonight.
Oh, this is going to get really interesting on how drivers are going to attack this. And we expect everybody to come down pit road here, get fresh tires, but it's going to be who's going to be aggressive on this restart. That's really going to spice things up, Sam.
As this replay we get up here shortly, well, commentator's curse is a wild thing. It's, oh no!
Oh, it's Ken Campbell. He got into the back of the 12 of Jonathan Woods under caution, trying to slow down.
Oh my goodness. There is a lot of different scenarios going on, but again, it was Nick Holland that brought out the initial yellow. As we get a look here, and this is what brought out the initial yellow. It was these 2 drivers, going to be the 18 of Austin Gull, Nick Holland, on top of one another, as they're going to be all hitting the backstretch. And Trevor, it just for Nick Holland, just a lack of awareness on where he was at. He was being pinched pretty aggressively by Call, but gets into the outside wall that bounces him across the nose of the 18.
Yeah, just drifted up a little bit too much. Bounces off the outside wall, comes down across the 18 machine, spins it to the inside there, and just not quite sure if he realized he was that close to the wall. Sam, hard contact with the rear end of that truck, and as he spins it back up the racetrack, but tough luck for last week's winner.
And that is what brings out the yellow that changed everything. And then Ken Campbell, our leader at the time, Andrew Medlin, and the 2. We're gonna see if we can we're gonna stay on board as when the drivers were catching up to the pace car. Trevor, you got to see it live, I believe. I mean, a wild scenario for these drivers as they were catching up the pace car heading into pit road, is when they make contact here, as we're still watching these drivers. I mean, a wild situation right here.
Yeah, I don't know what really happened there. I mean, Stitz goes low, carrying a little bit too much speed, but I mean, he's fine. Jonathan Woods just up near the wall, slowed down like he was supposed to be. Ken Campbell just maybe trying to make some adjustments on tires or fuel there. It just runs over the back of Jonathan Woods.
And Jonathan Woods gets the damage. The 12 somehow gets not involved with that, but I thought he was going to get some type of piece of that incident, but it's just a 2-car incident. But that was under yellow in another situation where yellow flag comes out and the worst damage comes from drivers after the fact.
I mean, it was a bigger wreck than what actually brought out the caution. I mean, and heavy damage to the rear end of the 12 of, or the 2 of Woods, and race-ending damage for that of Ken Campbell. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from the nose damage, but didn't get anything fixed on pit road. Came out of the pits in 4th. Woods comes out with the lead, so it's going to be interesting, Sam, to see how those 2 trucks are going to be affected here on this restart.
Major front right damage for the 15 that he's going to be working with for that of the 2. Wild to think the 2 drivers that were heavily involved with the aftermath of the yellow flag coming out going to be starting in the front row, and I mean, going to be starting in the top 4, excuse me. Jonathan Woods, major rear end damage, going to be starting in the lead in first place. We're waiting to see which position he wants to start, either on the inside or the outside. Be very very interesting call if he decides to go to the outside, because then he'd be right in front of the driver that just rear-ended him. But Ken Campbell in 4th, he'll be starting on the outer groove. How is that going to affect him on this start? And Andrew Medlin, he just went from this race being gifted in his hands to now the race might be gifted out of Chris Stitz in 2nd.
Yeah, I think Stitz is going to be in a really good spot here. The good news for Jonathan Woods, at least, is it's rear end damage. The spoiler doesn't look too beat up, a little bit of a crease in the middle of it that pushes it up, but it's not front end damage and it's not motor damage. So I think he might be okay here. Ken Campbell is really going to be the one who suffers the most with that heavy right front damage. But Medlin now, two drivers in front of him that we know are going to be quick on the short run. We'll have to see how Medlin's going to attack this.
Well, the gloves are off. It is going to be finding ourselves with 13 laps to go. It is all about finding yourself in a victory lane. Jonathan Woods dealing with rear end damage. Chris Stitz looking solid for the 17. Ken Campbell dealing with some front end damage. Going to be starting on the outside of row number 2. The driver that had the win practically in his grasp was the 12. Going to be starting in 3rd place. Second car on the inside, Ross Tatum, Will Bustler, that of Travis Dart, Zach Hall, Ryan Lynch, and Aaron Hale in the 94, who already tested out his skills on full sending it earlier when our stage came to a conclusion. What is the 94 going to have for the rest of these drivers? Let's find out, as it is time for the Queen City 200, presented by Lap Traffic Podcast. Almost looking like last season. Late cautions, shook it up, and here we go into the restart zone. 13 laps to go, and we're back to green flag action.
And a great jump there from the 2 of Woods. It's a little bit of a slow start that's going to allow Medlin to get to his inside into turn number 1. It's going to be a battle for 2nd. This is what Woods wants to see, but Medlin easily going to clear the 17 of Stitz. 21 of Ross Tatum now going to be battling for 4th position with the wounded 15 machine of Campbell, but it's going to be almost 3 wide for the lead. Same as they're bobbing and weaving all over the back straightaway. Medlin now to the inside for the lead.
Andrew Medlin going to be able to get to the inside of the 2 of that Jonathan Woods. Jonathan Woods going to be holding off the 17 of Stitz. Stitz trying to advance, not able to do so. The 2 with momentum on the outer groove holds for just a quick moment, but it's the draft assistance that pushes Stitz along. Chris Stitz trying to get to the inside quarter panel of that of Andrew Medlin, not able to do so. And it's Andrew Medlin back to the point, but Stitz looks hungry, diving high, now low to the inside is the 17. Here comes Chris Stitz.
Don't look too far behind them, Sam. That outside line right behind the 24 or the 2 of Woods is that 94 machine, Aaron Hale. He's going to get to the outside of Ken Campbell. That 94 machine using that outside line. He's coming, but it's the battle for the lead. It's still side by side into turn number 1 between Stitz and Medlin.
The question is, how willing are you to get aggressive? Well, we know that Aaron Hale is willing to get aggressive, but a wall, driver smashing the wall on the outside. That's Austin Gall, keeping it straight for now. No, hard in the inside. Gonna be keeping it straight, though. With all of that carnage, who's on down on the apron, we keep ourselves green as up front. Gonna be that of Chris Stitz with the point and takes the lead off the exit of 4.
Stitz to the front, Medlin second, Tatum third. We know Tatum was aggressive that last restart, but again, Sam, it's the man who started in 10th on the restart. Aaron Hale using that outside line to his advantage now, attacking the 2 of Woods. Zach Hall in the 32 right there, the 26, our pole sitter, Travis Dart, all trying to find a way around that wounded 2 machine of Jonathan Woods as he continues to fall back through the field.
I mean, Aaron Hale really just showed a lot of drivers, get to the outside and just send it. Don't worry about tires anymore. Just get as many positions as you can grab. Zach Hall decided, you know what, that's working for you. You're moving forward. I'll stick along with you to the outside. And the 2 of Jonathan Woods, that damage just looking too treacherous. Same for Ken Campbell. They're both on the inner groove. Not much they can do. Just too much damage with 9 to go. It looks to be a 3-horse race for the lead, but Aaron Hale, Zach Hall, they're not going to say that it's over just yet.
Not going to say it's over, and what they need now is for those top 3 to start to race with one another, but Stitz starting to slightly pull an advantage over the 12 of Medlin. That of the 21 of Ross Tatum falling back just a little bit from those guys, but still within touching distance of one another is Aaron Hale. Zach Hall trying to close in as Woods continues to fall back as Travis Dart and Will Bustler now side by side.
Right now, seeing Will Bustler trying to make his way forward, but it's going to be that of Dart struggling on the inside lane. He's going to be passed by that of even Cameron Sarton. Sarton's now cracked instead of the top 10 for the 24. What a great recovery run he's had since the stage break incident where he clobbered the wall after the yellow came out. 24 trying his best, but they're all chasing this driver. It's the 17 of Chris Stitz, who is right now being hunted by Andrew Medlin. Medlin, last season, led 1 lap, and it was the lap that got him in victory lane. Here tonight, he's led the most laps, and he's got to find a way to take back this lead position. Chris Stitz has been overcooking those tires. Medlin's been a little bit more patient. I think Medlin's setting up here, Trevor, for that final 3-lap dash at the end.
Yeah, trying to set up for that dash. And while Stitz looking to become our second 2-time winner of the season to tie Zach Hall in wins so far this season, but Stitz still trying to just maintain that gap to Medlin. 0.3 of a second. Ross Tatum's fallen off to almost a second behind, and Aaron Hale and Zach Hall really haven't made up any ground on the top 3.
See the rest of the field snaking their way around the very wounded 18 of Austin Cole. Now our leader's going to have John Dart in front of him. John Dart's going to be staying high, forcing 17 to go low. And Medlin's open. He can get by lap traffic smoothly here as it is down to that of the 5 laps to go. And top 3 all pretty split up. Aaron Hale trying to defend Zach Hall the best that he can. He's doing a great job as they get by that of John Dart. And it looks to be no more lap traffic that Chris Stitz is going to have to worry about for this race. But now it's down to 4 to go here, Trevor. Medlin still in striking distance, but he needs to have some of the best laps he's ran all night long to close in the gap and pass the 17.
It's still 0.3 of a second, and that time by just not quicker than that of Stitz. Stitz a little bit quicker than that of Medlin, able to maintain that gap, almost pull it to about 0.4 down the back straightaway. Medlin's running out of laps here, Sam, just trying to close in this gap, and the truck that was so dominant on the long run just doesn't look like he has that short run pace that he needs here to really challenge that 17.
I mean, Chris Stitz got to think for the 17, it has really helped him out. He was climbing his way forward, but was going to run out of time to catch up to Andrew Medlin. Needed a caution, got the caution that was necessary, and now the 17 in a great position. 3 to go, and with 0.3 over that of Andrew Medlin, looking good. But Medlin, he's been backing off for this moment. He needs to now hit the throttle, go gas it up, and run down this 17 with 2 laps to go.
It's one mistake. It's all it's going to take for him to catch that 17 machine. Looking at the lap times, he was a 10th quicker that time by Sam, closing it in now to 2/10. He's got, at that rate, he's going to be right at the bumper of Chris Stitz on the final lap, but Is he going to be close enough to maybe give him a little bit of a shove it into the corner down the back straightaway? Stitz again pulls it gap just a little bit more though.
Slowly trying to close in. The best that he can is Andrew Medlin. It's less than 3/10, but he's gonna need one of the best heroic pushes. At a turn number 4, he's slowly closing in, but it's your freaky fast white flag. Chris Stitz leading the way. It's down to 2/10. It's less than 2/10. Andrew Medlin hoping for a 1-lap dash to try to take the lead. Last week, it was the last lap where he lost the lead and lost an opportunity to win at Pocono. Here tonight, one more opportunity down into turn number 3. Chris Stitz is holding steady. Perfect through 3 and 4. The 17 tie him with 2 wins this season. It's Stitz winning here at Charlotte.
Stitz holds off the dominant truck all night long, and again, heartbreak for Andrew Medlin. Comes home just so close to the victory, but got to feel good for himself. I mean, getting all the points that he can in that 12 machine, just not getting the win here tonight. Ross Tatum brings it home third. Aaron Hale with a heroic run there at the end, able to come away with a 4th place finish. Zach Hall is going to come home in 5th, but that late race caution, Sam, that's all it took for them to upset that 12 machine of Andrew Medlin here tonight.
And for that of Andrew Medlin, I mean, this is turning into the ultimate great points days that he could ask for after last week at Pocono, this week at Charlotte. He is going to be even closer. He might even pass to be inside of our top 12 in points. But this 12, he has to be hurting as he still can't get to victory lane. But getting to victory lane once again is going to be that of the 17 machine of Chris Stitz, who has done it so many times in past seasons. But this is going to be his 2nd win this season. Last time he was in victory lane was back at Kansas, and he does it once again, getting the victory here at Charlotte. Well, as the 17 gets to burn it down, we are going to step aside. When we come back, we are going to talk to our top 2 and as well as Spotlight Drive to get their thoughts on tonight's race. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the Full Send Racing Series. Here tonight, we got to see a good one at Charlotte, a 13-lap shootout to see who's going to win here tonight, and it goes to that of Chris Stitz in the 17. As we head to victory lane, let's get the thoughts from the 17. Chris, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. Congratulations on the win, man. How are you feeling after that one?
Thank you guys. I'm very excited. That was a tough race. I didn't think I had much for him, but here we are.
I mean, Chris, it looked like you were running him down there in that green flag run. We're gonna you're probably just gonna run out of time there. I mean, how are you feeling when that caution came out there with about 14 to go?
I thought I had a chance to catch Medlin. I just didn't think I'd have enough time because I had to get around the 8 car, I believe it was, in second, and that would have at least cost me half a second or something. But that caution definitely gave me a new hope to go out there and just drive out front and win it.
And that's exactly what you did. You certainly did drive out there. We saw a couple of worrisome spots trying to get by lap cars. How much was that kind of something that was in the back of your mind of if I catch these lap cars in a bad spot, Medlin could be right back on me again?
I was a little worried. Definitely coming out of the corner, you get super tight off 3 and 4, and if they're just in that bad spot, you can lose a second easily. So luckily, I caught them in the right spots at the right time and made it quick and kept meddling behind me.
That you certainly did. Well, we're heading to North Wilkesboro next week, and as well Michigan, Darlington, Dover, Talladega to finish out our regular season. How are you feeling mentally, knowing that there's 5 more races left in the regular season before we get to that playoff push?
I'm feeling great. These next 5 weeks, 5 races, they're just gonna be. I'm gonna put it all on the line and just kind of see how far I can push this truck without, wrecking myself, of course, and hopefully build up some playoff points to be a little bit more comfortable going into round one.
Hey, I'm happy to hear that. Well, Chris, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
First of all, I'd like to thank my dad who's watching at home, and I'd like to thank my sponsors, Lake Anna, Frostfire, you guys up in the booth for always putting on fantastic broadcasts. Um, I'd like to thank Travis and everyone that runs the league, my teammates, Cole and Nick. Cole couldn't unfortunately be here tonight, but unfortunately, every race that he hasn't been here, I've won, so there's that. But yeah,
Well, that is going to be that of the 17 machine of Chris Stitz. Congratulations on your second win of the season, and good luck next week at North Wilkesboro.
thank you very much, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. As we go from victory lane, let's head to that a second position where we got Andrew Medlin, who once again, it's tough to say, but it's 2 weeks in a row leading the most laps and coming second for this driver. Andrew, it's Sam and Trevor once again. Does this feel like deja vu, kind of like last week? I mean, the stats kind of show that it's pretty similar, kind of a different last lap, but man, you looked quick here tonight.
Yeah, certainly very frustrating, Sam. They pay to win, not to finish second, and to do that, 2 weeks in a row, having a great truck. I mean, I've been struggling mid-season here, but the one positive thing I can take back is, we're putting things together. I just got to figure out how to have it at the end. I was a little bit too conservative going into turn 3 last week. Tonight, just a little too conservative on pit road. I mean, no disrespect to Chris Stitz. He ran a hell of a race, had a great pit stop, and ran all out there those last 18 laps. But I feel like I left just a little bit too much there again. So, but overall, awesome race, had a lot of fun, and still very pleased to come home with a second place finish.
I mean, Medlin doing the quick calculations between last week and this week should move you up into the top 12 in points, getting you into the playoffs as it stands. But I mean, the momentum you're building right now led the most laps to stage last week. This week, coming home second both times. But then we go to Wilkesboro, and we know how quick you are at short tracks. I mean, that's got the confidence level that you have to have right now has to be really high going into next week for sure.
It is, yeah, Trevor. I mean, it's very high right now. I love, the pace we've been showing the last 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and put this announcement out there now. You guys will be the first to hear it here. I just found out before the race I'm going to miss next week, so I'm really bummed about that. I love the short tracks. Usually have a lot of speed there also, but we'll try not to lose that momentum and come back in 2 weeks and try to piece it together. I mean, after tonight, I think I finally cracked into the top 12, and now I'm just going to set myself right back again. But if we can put together some good runs like this, hopefully I can sneak in and get a win here and maybe point my way into the playoffs. I'm not sure if I'll still be eligible or not, but uh, overall, though, like I said earlier, when I sit back and think about it, I'm just really happy with the runs we're putting together now. Seems like we've shook that monkey off our back, and it's coming together. But again, I got to just figure out how to finish. So if I can do that, watch out. So
Well, trying to figure out how to finish, I also kind of want to go back to that final pit stop. Before you even got into pit road, a little bit of a scare behind you in the mirror. I know your teammate Ken Campbell had an issue running into that of Jonathan Woods. What was that like in the Discord chat when that situation happened? And how are you feeling trying to react to make sure you weren't involved in that
yeah,
little incident?
I'll tell you what, Sam. Yeah, I'm glad you guys. Well, maybe not glad you guys caught that, but yeah, you picked up on a big moment there. Ken and I, and also Zach, we were talking race strategy, obviously pitch strategy there, and uh, you know, Ken and I were just a little bit zoned out, both of us on both ends there. And I'll leave out what was said there, but luckily we reacted. Missed each other. Unfortunately, I think he got into Woods there, and I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Woods too. He ran a heck of a race tonight. So, it was unfortunate there. He got a little bit of damage there from Ken. Certainly wasn't intentional. Just not paying attention. Us guys in our 40s, we only have so much focus, and sometimes it does slip. So.
Well, might have slipped, but still, at least you were able to escape away with minimal damage, if any, and able to come away with a second. Congratulations on that, Andrew. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Well, first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my beautiful wife. She really encourages me to spend more time on the simulator. I'm not sure if that's because she thinks I need more practice or she likes her alone time, but either way, appreciate her support. And my father who's watching every week, and want to give a special shout out to my mom who's probably sitting right next to him in the bed reading a book right now. So, Mom, if you're watching, hi, Mom. But and my brother's always watching too. Aaron, appreciate you watching every week, buddy. And Joe and Vernon, appreciate all the friends and family watching. Give a shout out to Lap Traffic Podcast. I know they were sponsoring the race tonight. This was actually in a way. Sort of like a home track race for me. I lived in Charlotte for several years and actually had a race shop right outside of Turn 2 for a couple years there. So it was nice to be back to virtual Charlotte and put a good run here. And last but not least, want to give a shout out to Special Olympics and the Race for Inclusion. And certainly you guys at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, until 18 laps to go, Freaky Fast Racing was looking pretty good there. So we were trying our darndest to come home with the top three for all three of us. But dominoes just didn't quite fall in the right direction there. But yeah, and last, just a shout out to Steve Benjamin, Travis Dart for running a heck of a league. A lot of fun running in full send, and looking forward to finishing out the season strong. Appreciate it, boys.
Another strong performance from that of Andrew Medlin here tonight. Congratulations on that, and good luck in 2 weeks when you're back for Michigan.
Thanks. Appreciate it, boys.
As we go from second place, let's go to our spotlight driver, which is going to be our biggest mover of the night. And that is going to be Will Bustler joining us in that of the one machine. Will, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. Biggest mover of the night, up 14 positions. Congratulations on that and getting a top 10 finish. Man, how are you feeling after that performance?
Yeah, that was a tough race. Unfortunately, my second lap of qualifying was invalid, so otherwise I would have been up in the top five for sure with that run. So had to work my way back, had to be patient, had to be a little harder on the tires there in the first run just to get back up, and because track position was such a huge part here. So overall, I'll take it, top 10. I'm glad a repeat winner was there. Otherwise, it won't be looking good for me for the playoffs.
I mean, Will, just what was it like working your way through the field? I mean, we saw some guys be super aggressive. You're going to the outside, blowing past people, but then in about 10 laps falling back. And other guys just staying on the bottom. I mean, kind of what was your game plan as you worked your way, from the back to the front tonight?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. What I was just kind of planning on doing was just run the bottom. Once I got up to another truck, if I knew I can get around them, that's when I popped up on the second groove and was able to kind of go around who I needed to. So it was truck by truck basis, just trying to figure out who I can get around and, all while making sure I was, conscious and aware of, who was around me so I didn't get anybody.
And Will, I know points still going to be a big talking point. We got 5 more races left in the regular season with 4 spots that you can still be pointed in. Meaning, if these next 5 races are won by different drivers, and you're not one of those drivers, you can be balanced out. Crazy to think, but man, how is it trying to think of ways to point your way in, knowing that there still is a factor that you could get bounced out with all these races still left?
Yeah, no, I look at the standings pretty often, seeing, what I need to do and what tracks we have next. So it's going to be tight. I don't really know if I'm going to be able to get a win this season. Ideally, that would be awesome just to kind of race it, calm for a few weeks. But it's going to be close. I just got to be consistent. Don't make any mental mistakes. Don't zone out. That's really going to be key, is just making sure I stay focused.
Well, we hope that you're able to make that push into the playoffs here, Will. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Thanks, guys. Just gotta thank you guys up in the booth. You guys doing awesome at Freaky Fast. Excellent job. You guys put on a heck of a broadcast for all the leagues that you guys do. Thanks for the tonight's sponsor, Lap Traffic Podcast. League admins Travis. Thanks for everything he does. All the other sponsors we have: ButtKicker, Next Level Racing, FR Graphics. Thank my team. We had a okay teams points. Ross and Woods, they raced awesome tonight. But other than that, thanks for everybody for watching. We always appreciate it.
Well, that is going to be the #1 machine of Will Bustler coming away with 6th place finish here tonight. Congratulations on that finish, and good luck next week at North Wilkesboro.
Thanks, guys.
Well, as we go from our spotlight driver, let's head on over to that of going to be our unofficial results here tonight. It was a crazy finish. We thought at one moment it was all Andrew Medlin until the late caution that came out with 18 to go that forced us into a 13-lap shootout, where it was Andrew Medlin, Chris Ditz, trying to find a way on who was going to get the win, and it was the 17 getting it done, with Andrew Medlin finishing 2nd for the 2nd race in a row, and for the 2nd race in a row, leading the most laps and losing it late. Ross Tatum going to be coming away 3rd, with that of Aaron Hale, fill-in driver, coming away 4th. A great run for that 94 machine. Zach Hall going to be in 5th. In the 32, with Will Bustler in 6th position. Our pole sitter, Travis Stark, going to finish in 7th. Cameron Sarnt, great recovery after his stage brake incident under the yellow. The 24 going to come away with 8th. Ryan Lynch going to come away with 9th. And another driver that had a under the yellow incident, it's Ken Campbell, going to be in 10th place.
Campbell down there in 10th, and then Jonathan Woods, the driver that he unfortunately got into the back of, down there in 12th. I mean, what could have been for both of those guys had they not made that contact under caution? Could have had a shot to maybe challenge the 17 of Stitz. Kyle Carpenter, Sam, with a great recovery after he had early contact with the outside wall in 13th. Last week's winner, Nick Holland, after the hard contact he had at the inside wall, did a good job getting back up there into 14th. John Dart, who showed some pace early on, all the way back there in 19th. Doug Pierce, Austin Call, at tough runs for them. Trey Jackson as well, 10 laps down in that 55 machine, filling in tonight. Another tough run for himself. But overall, Sam, I mean, what a race that was tonight. Again, another just dominating performance from Andrew Medlin, just not able to get it closed like he said. And Chris Stitz able to steal one away here.
And the fact that the night that got him into the top 12 of points, most likely here, going to be the last time we might see him in the top 12. He is going to have to most likely win to get into the playoffs, with the fact that he just announced there under interview he's missing out next week. And if he can make it all 4 races after that in Michigan, Darlington, Dover, and Talladega, and have great finishes there, and ask for other drivers to have poor finishes, he might be able to get back in the top 12 points-wise. But again, that's asking for a lot by the 12th machine. Andrew Medlin and plenty of others trying to make the final push for the playoffs. Just 5 more races left here in the regular season before the top 12 get to battle it out for a championship. Well, if you've had a great time listening to our broadcast here this evening, we got plenty of more throughout the week. Tomorrow night, it is the Wicked Racing League in the Next Gen Cup car. They're going to be racing at the Super Speedway configuration of Atlanta, which should be a good one. The last time they were there for Season 1, these drivers put on a madhouse and a great one overall. Then Thursday night, it's the Stars and Stripes throwback season, as they're going to be taking the ARCA cars to Five Flags, a short track bonanza that should be an overall blast to watch. Hey, you want more short track racing? Well, that's what you're going to get on Saturday, as that of the WSSR Roast Gems Cup Series. Head to IRP for that of the Lucas Oil Raceway. More short track racing action. Then for the drivers, going to be on the ISRC Truck Series on Monday. They as well will be having some fun short track racing. I mean, it is just a complete short track racing fun exchange, as next week for that of the Full Send Racing Series, they'll also be going to that of North Wilkesboro. I mean, Trevor, Freaky Fast Broadcasting, getting ready for a lot of short track racing action for this upcoming week.
Oh, it's gonna be a fun week. A lot of beating and banging, a lot of tempers flaring. What better time to tune in than this week to catch all the action? And cannot wait for it, Sam.
Cannot wait for it either. But for tonight, thank you for everyone that joined with us on your Tuesday evening to watch the Full Send Racing Series. Can't wait for our next broadcast. But for myself, Sam Dyer, for that of Trevor Earhart, and for Robert Moyer Jr., who ran the productions in the background, and everyone else at Freaky Fast Broadcasting that allows this crew to put on the best show that we can, thank you so much for watching our videos. Remember to like, subscribe, and as well share the broadcast. Get ready, as it's going to be a good one for this rest of this week. Can't wait for it. Our next broadcast tomorrow night. It's the Wicked Racing League Super Speedway action at that of Atlanta. Hope you can join us, and if you can't, see you next week at North Wilkesboro. Have a great one, everybody.